What is the biggest technical challenge in the brain-computer interface space? Sounds like a complex problem that might take months to answer, right? I'm Chris Frank, founder of DataFrank, and I'm going to show you how I use the tools of data science and artificial intelligence to find the answer in 6.4 minutes. Let's get started. The starting point for any data science project is defining your data set. For today's query, we are looking at the top medical technology companies in the brain-computer interface space. And since we want to find out what the biggest technical challenge is, we're going to use the patent database to find our answer. What you see here are the leading companies in this space and the number of patent families that we included for each company in our dataset. Before we dive into the analysis, I want to show you why the patent database is so valuable. Here are 3 patents from Neuralink that illustrate the kind of information that we can extract. The first patent gives us the brain dimple problem. When you drill into the skull, it creates a dimple in the brain tissue that affects whether electrodes can properly interface with neural tissue. That's an interesting problem. Then we have the threading floss through a straw problem. The ultra-thin wires connecting the electrodes to the control hub must be fed through a guide tube, creating a real wire management challenge. Finally, we have the frustrated brain problem. When a patient gets frustrated, their brain signals become erratic, and the system can't reliably interpret what the patient wants to do. These are interesting problems we can extract from patents. I call the patent database the world's most valuable database because each patent represents multiple dimensions of competitive intelligence. These are marketing insights, the real problems that customers, patients, surgeons, physicians care about solving. These are also business insights. Patents are expensive to file. If a company spent money on it, it's an important problem from a business perspective. And finally, these are also technical insights. Patents literally lay out the technical problems and technical solutions that each company is focusing on. That's why this is the world's most valuable database. The problem is that patents are long, technical, and frankly boring. Despite their value, extracting this information used to require months of time, significant resources, and specialized expertise. But with AI, this is almost a too good to be true use case. You can literally feed an AI engine one patent at a time and have it summarize it for you in terms of a problem statement, solution statement, and categorization. This is literally the perfect AI use case. So that's what we did with this data set. We fed it 100 patents and we let AI do the work. So what does it look like when AI reads, summarizes, and categorizes 100 patents? This is a screenshot of my terminal running the analysis. 6.4 minutes is what it took. We've taken our data set of 100 patents, summarized each one, and now we are ready to analyze the results. It was that easy. Let's see what we found. What you see here is our category by category analysis. The AI divided our 100 patents into 10 different categories, mapped here by patent count. Notice the 2 highlighted categories, high activity in red and hidden opportunity in orange. Today we're focusing only on the high activity zone. We'll save hidden opportunities for another video. High activity means that this category has the most patent filings, 27 patent families, the highest activity. Now, your first instinct might be to avoid this area. It looks like someone else has already solved the problem and filed the patents to block you out. That instinct would be wrong. High activity zones reveal the fundamental technical challenge that must be solved to compete in a given space. There are many patent filings because multiple companies are attempting to solve the same hard problem in different ways. These are the table stakes, the fundamental requirements you must meet in order to play in this space. In this case, our high activity zone falls under the category of physical integration. So what's that? Physical integration means technologies addressing how devices physically interface with neural tissue. Does this make sense that this would be the biggest technical challenge in the BCI space? Absolutely. The fundamental requirement of any BCI device is that it must successfully interact or interface with neural tissue. So that's our answer. But that's just the superficial answer. What we really want are actionable insights, a true understanding of how different companies are solving this key technical challenge and how they compare to each other. And that's also what our AI engine can reveal for us. So here's how we dig deeper. We take only the patents in this category, the physical integration category, and analyze them company by company. For precision neuroscience, we find their 13 physical integration patents, and the AI engine extracts their key problems, solutions, and strategic insights. We repeat this for Neuralink, Synchron, and Paradromics, and then we compare the results side by side. When we run this analysis, here's what we get. This is the $1,000,000 slide. Each company is summarized by how they approach this key technical challenge, their problem definition, their solution approach, and the strategic insight that emerges from combining the two. Let's walk through each one. Precision neuroscience is focused on minimizing surgical risk. Their solution, multi-route, minimally invasive access. The insight, by combining the two, precision neuroscience seeks to minimize surgical risk by using surface-only electrodes placed via minimally invasive access through the cortical surface, ventricles, and blood vessels. So instead of one big invasive hole, they are creating multiple tiny entry points to reach the target anatomy and to minimize surgical risk. Neuralink. Neuralink is solving a different problem. They're minimizing surgical variability, and their solution is to use robotic surgical automation. So the insight here is that Neuralink seeks to minimize surgical variability of implanting thousands of cortical electrodes by using robotic surgical automation and vision-guided systems. They want to take human inconsistency out of the equation entirely, using repeatability and the precision of robotics. Now let's look at Synchron. Synchron is focused on minimally invasive catheter-based procedures. This immediately distinguishes their solution space from both precision and Neuralink. Their solution? Deploy through blood vessels rather than direct surgical access. So the insight, Synchron seeks to provide minimally invasive catheter-based procedures that enable electrode arrays to be deployed through blood vessels via endovascular access. They're using the vascular system as their highway to the brain. And finally, Paradromics. They're solving the problem of minimizing cosmetic and infection problems. So their solution is a skull-integrated cranial hub. The insight here, Paradromics is focused on minimizing cosmetic and infection problems by developing a skull-integrated cranial hub that resides within the skull profile and not in direct contact with brain tissue. They are avoiding brain infection risk entirely by staying in the skull and outside of the brain tissue. That's our $1,000,000 slide, derived from an AI analysis of 100 patents in just 6 minutes. We now know the key technical challenge in the BCI space, how the BCI devices interface with neural tissue. And we also now know how each company is addressing this key technical challenge. Let's take it one step further. Let's pull back and look at what this tells us at a broader level. Here's what our AI-driven analysis can reveal at this high level of insights, and it's truly fascinating. The key insight here is the companies are not competing, they are segmenting. The physical integration patents reveal fundamentally different technical approaches designed for different patient populations and risk tolerances. All 4 companies are pursuing the same fundamental problem, but with completely different methods and technologies. Each has segmented based on what they believe to be the most important criterion for their particular target patient population. The implication here, this is not a winner-take-all market. Multiple approaches will coexist, serving different patient risk profiles and clinical needs. These companies have carved out defensible niches rather than competing head to head. What we have is four companies and four completely different approaches to solve just this one fundamental challenge. That's the kind of insight we can get with an AI-driven patent landscape analysis. And remember, this is just one category of the 10 categories that we originally identified in our analysis. Now, we've completed this analysis. You might be wondering, could this type of analysis work for your product or business or technology? Well, first of all, who am I and why am I offering an AI-driven patent landscape service? For the past 10 years, I've been helping companies uncover competitive insights and white space opportunities, exactly like what I showed you today, but I was doing it manually. I've presented at national conferences on innovation and patent strategy, including the New Product Development and Innovation Conference in Chicago and the National Association of Patent Practitioners in Minneapolis. And I teach this as part of the Capstone Innovation course that I teach at the University of Minnesota Law School. I've been talking about this for 10 years. But here's the problem. This analysis, summarizing 100, 500, 1,000 patents, can take anywhere from 6 to 9 months to perform at a cost of 20 to 40 or more tens of thousands of dollars. It's very expensive and very time consuming. As a result, only the biggest companies with the largest budgets and patent portfolios could afford these insights. Everyone else had no choice but to blindly navigate the patent landscape and hope for the best. And so you can imagine the number one question that I get when I present these kinds of findings, these patent insights, especially from small and medium-sized companies and startups, is what if AI could do that for you? I've been asked this question for 10 years, and so I've had to think about the answer for 10 years, and that is why I founded DataFrank. Now you too can get these same insights that were previously only available to Fortune 500 companies. And here's how simple it is with AI. Step one, select your patent data set. Just like we did today, you select somewhere around 100, typically 250 documents at the most to begin with, and you throw it into the AI system. So step two, let AI do the work. That's where DataFrank comes in, and we summarize and categorize the patents for you. And then on a 1 to 2 week turnaround, step three, get your AI generated insights delivered as a PowerPoint, just like you saw here, and an Excel file that you can analyze immediately. We've turned a 6 to 9 month, $20,000 to $40,000 process into a 1 to 2 week turnaround that costs less than what you currently pay for a single patent application. That means that companies of any size can now make informed, insight-driven decisions based on real-time competitive intelligence. If interested, visit datafrank.ai to schedule your free 30-minute strategy call and discover what insights and opportunities are waiting to be uncovered in your technology space. I'm Chris Frank, and thank you for watching.